this Pathways 4 presentation. I've chosen to use film as my choice of medium for my final submission, and I've also chosen myself as the subject to be filmed. After having a ruptured brain aneurysm in January of this year, partway through my studies, I feel that it's a subject that could benefit many. This type of aneurysm has a very low survival rate, and by me being able to talk about how this has changed my way of life and given an understanding of how a survivor may be feeling inside could be useful to families, friends, and even the nursing profession. By having first-hand knowledge of how it feels to go through this, obviously gives me an advantage as far as the research into the subject goes. But how I was to edit the film was something that I researched further. Firstly, I was looking into split screening, where I would have been in one frame of the screen and the images and video that have been added on top would be in the other frame. Where there is no images added, it would then be a full frame interview. However, when looking into this and thinking about the subject that I've chosen to talk about, I decided that just a simple interview style was all that was needed. I would have loved to have had a go at the split screen with this, but it would have taken the power away from the narrative. My other idea was to have a multi-screen production, where the same film was to play on multiple screens at the same time. But whilst the film was to be playing simultaneously, the audio at certain parts were to be coming from different speakers in a 5.1 surround sound system. Even though this idea would have worked at the time of my aneurysm, and still to this day, it was and is an extremely confusing and muddled experience. So having people switch to watch different monitors as the sound changes direction would actually work. However, due to time constraints, both with myself and tutors, plus lack of knowledge on my behalf to actually make this performance come together as an installation, it is something that I wouldn't have time to get together. However, this is not to say that I will not attempt it, as it feels like an extremely exciting installation project. The project is a 2-camera angle production with still images inputted into it. Originally I was going to have still images printed out as part of the whole project, but looking at the film now that it has been edited, I feel that it needs no more. If I started adding more into the final production, then it will definitely not do the subject any justice. So the intention is to leave it as it is. In between hospital visits and having to take regular rest periods, I have managed my time to the best of my ability. By moving a few things around, I managed to finish my essay 4 weeks ahead of schedule, which left me time to concentrate on this film. I didn't exactly stick to the timescale that I'd previously written for my statement of intent, but I never anticipated the lack of energy that I wouldn't have. I didn't quite anticipate the severity of the emotions that I'd feel by talking about my experience. It affected me more than I'd realised when I was alone in the evening rather than whilst I was filming. To physically hear back what was being said was very hard to listen back to, and it never got easier with the more that I filmed each take. I have talked about this in my blog and reflected upon many emotions throughout this whole process. I received an email about a pop-up engine room that was coming to Yeovil for 5 weeks. This is a company that I did my work experience with. I had heard that they were showing artists' work over the 5 weeks, so took the chance to go in and talk about my film that I had just finished. I talked to Mr. Richard Tomlinson, who is part of Somerset Film, which is affiliated with the engine room, and he was very interested in the topic of my film. and would discuss it further with the team back in Bridgewater. I handed over a copy of the film at my next meeting with Mr Tomlinson, and a date was arranged that Somerset Film would screen my film. It's to be on the 20th of August 2014 at 7 p.m. We're going to do a meet and greet at 7 p.m. The screening will take place at 7:30 p.m. and then it'll be Q&A, and also we'll be laid on some drinks and snacks, and it will conclude at 8:30 p.m. Overall, I feel that the project went really well considering the hurdles that I've had to personally overcome. It would have been an easy route to take by deferring my degree for a year, but deciding to carry on and hoping that I can be proud of what I have achieved by the end of my degree.
Okay. Can I ask a couple of questions?
Yes, that's fine.
So, Julia, for this SP4, production-wise and technically-wise, how would you say you've progressed from previous projects that you've worked on? Is there anything new that you've learned?
Anything new that I've learned? It's quite a hard question to answer, seeing as I've lost some of my memory from last time, because I've had to relearn a lot of things.
What kind of things would you say?
I've definitely, with the editing side of things, I've challenged myself a little bit further by adding not just still images in with a interview style scene, but I've also added video into it, and I've done some slowing down of video, which was, I've never done that before. I filmed at 50 frame rates a second rather than the standard 25.
Okay, good. And also, this is obviously a very a topic that is very close to it, and a very emotive topic for you. Do you think that it's affected you more than you thought it would do at the start of this project, or yeah? Yeah,
definitely. The first time that I filmed it, because I did 3 takes of a film in the end because I wasn't happy with the first 2. The first time I just couldn't sleep, so I ended up doing a video blog at 1:30 in the morning. The second time that I filmed it, I cried all night. I didn't even want my children, just cried the whole night because it just physically drained the life out of me. And the third time it wasn't as bad. I don't know if that was because I was happy with the film and the light, everything was perfect. So that didn't affect me as much as, and I think it's because I was hearing it so many times, I'm probably used to hearing it now. So, but yeah, emotionally it was really hard to film. I'm glad I've done it though. Because I'm hoping it just helps somebody out there.
That's great.
Okay.